Incremental greetings. It's kind of surprising that after 200 videos, I actually never covered the Jargon, SuperMemo Jargon. And as you may have noticed already, I use lots of jargon that for me, I'm very familiar with them, but for a new user, it is overwhelming. And I take this for granted in most of my videos. So, slightly overdue, but today I will focus on the jargon of SuperMemo. But I will filter this out and I will just share with you what is the most relevant stuff you need to know, because there's so many with very niche and very arcane features that it's very unlikely you will need to know that. But before starting, let me show to you just to get some idea. That is my branch for SuperMemo. And look at that. Toolbar, menu, chart, registry, glossary. What is that? More than 400 elements. I will cover this jargon later on. Look at that. What a child, a component. What is the difference between a concept element, a concept group, a concept map, and I will tell you more, a concept registry member? What's the difference? All of this jargon, right? It's very confusing and also numerous. There are so many. So let's start. I will cover first the windows, name of the windows and dialogs, what you need to know. This window that you see here is called the element window. And if I press learn, that is where your topics and your flashcards are going to be loaded. Nice. Element window. Because in SuperMemo, everything is an element. So all you see here in this list called knowledge tree, it is an element. And any element can be viewed in this window, element window. Nice. And I just said that this is called the knowledge tree, all this hierarchy, because SuperMemo uses the hierarchy. You cannot use tags. Nice. But this window is not called the knowledge tree. It's called contents window. So the contents window includes the knowledge tree, and you also have a toolbar, some dialog, some menus, and options. Nice. If I close this down, I can summon it by clicking on contents. And as you can see, view or modify the knowledge tree. Nice. Then there's one issue you can have. If you notice now, I have this white border, let's say, but that's back. So it's where the buttons and toolbar are. So what you need to know is just hover, and as you hover immediately, you get the menu again, just in case you experience this. Nice. Let's proceed with the next one, the next window. What you see here with all the tabs, all the information, this is called element data window. If you don't see it, you can summon it by going to window and element data. Nice. That's a huge overkill. That's more information that you need most of the time. So what I suggest is just that. Bam, bam, bam. Especially at the beginning, you can just have these. So you can know especially those three. The item type, the concept, and the template. We will cover this later. Most of the time, it's very unlikely you will have to pick something else, especially at the beginning. So don't worry about that. So this is called element data and can be present at all times as well. Nice. Let me get rid of this one. There are still more windows. There's another one called ancestors window. That's one example that since I don't use the menus myself, I kind of forgot how to get the... Oh, look at that, ancestors window. What happens with SuperMemo is that sometimes it's counterintuitive. So you have here the windows. Okay, you have the contents, knowledge tree, status bar, background, and element data. We covered already. So you will expect the ancestors to be there, another window. But for whatever reason, it's not in the window. It's inside search. Okay, good to know. And ancestors. Or Ctrl-Shift-X. Nice. Now the question is, what's the difference? What is the purpose of this window? Well, the main difference is that it's somewhat equivalent of the knowledge tree, but without siblings. So you get For instance, I have this flashcard here, and I have all the parents. So this starts with my root, IL for incremental learning, language, concept is Chinese, will be method is for inputting Chinese, and I can have the same on the knowledge tree. I'm here. So that's the parent, it's the one here. The top you see here will be the next parent, subdivision of the keyword is here, and so on. So at the beginning, you will use the knowledge tree. And the ancestors is kind of redundant, right? But with time, your collection will grow. And eventually, you will have so many siblings most of the time that you will need to rely on the ancestors window. The difference is that the ancestors window is just for looking at it. You won't click. You can actually click and do something, but it's kind of redundant. For me, the ancestors window is just statics. I will look at it, get the context of that card or topic, and that's it. I won't interact with this window. Nice. There's still one window called the stats window. No, statistics, and you get one icon of this chart, the pie chart, or in the toolkit, statistics, and for whatever reason, like the pie chart, it's for analysis. It's another window, not for statistics. This happens, so you have to get used to this user interface. So in this case, don't rely on the icon, because the icon is for something else. Those are the plots and so on, is another thing. So this is called statistics. And you can have this open at all times if you want, usually at the side. That's the default. If we go to the warrior layout, nice. This is called warrior layout and has all the windows we covered, but to knowledge tree. Because this is for pro users, recommended from Wozniak. It's built in. And here you have so many options that now, that's my opinion. So take this as a bias comment, that many of those options are actually unnecessary to have on the screen at all times. So I would prefer to have these smaller. So you could have this knowledge tree a little smaller and the statistics window. You have so many stats, I won't cover that. Only the exception of this review, that the information that will be here when it's not empty, it's only here. It's not shown, displayed in any other place. You really need to take this. Nice. And if you may have noticed, is most of the time what happens is that when I open one new window, everything screws up, right? What happens here? Now this is off. I lost the knowledge tree again. It disappeared for whatever reason and so on. Yeah, that is because I'm using multiple windows at the same time. Element window, ancestors window, element data window, statistics window, and so on. And the contents window that it was here. So what you need to do in order to keep those in the place you want is using layouts. So what I did before, layout and warrior with F5. If you don't like this, you can make your own. For instance, I make my own, right? Here I have the knowledge tree, it's wider, I don't have the stats window, I have the element data with just this meaningful tab, which I have the information I need to, that is not displayed elsewhere, unless I open more dialogues in order to see it like this. It's okay, yeah, I can see that the group and the template, but I can take just a peek without summoning new windows. That's just an overview of just the windows. Well, not actually true. In SuperMemo documentation, you will see that sometimes they use the name of window and sometimes the name of dialog. But what's the difference? Well, there's still one window missing, and it's the browser window. So if I open this, now this is called the browser. And as you can see, my layout changed. That is because some layouts are reserved the contents when you open the knowledge tree and the browser. Why? Because for SuperMemo, it's intended or it is meant to be temporary. So I open this, the browser, because I want to create a subset I want to suspend items, whatever thing, I will do something here or some menu, close it down and move on. So it's meant to be temporary, but that is how it's intended to be used. Perhaps your usage will be different. Most of users will have the knowledge tree at all times. And this is what I do as well. From I think day 2, I use the knowledge tree. Why? Because if we set the warrior, the professional layout for professional users, you will see that here there's no contents window or browser window. That's the preferred choice, I think, from Wozniak, the creator of SuperMemo. I don't agree with this. I don't need that many space for the stats at all times, so I prefer to have the knowledge tree, even if sometimes it's redundant with ancestors. So, and for wrapping up this video, now is what is the definition of a window and a dialog? What's the difference? Well, I have one heuristic to assess this difference. Is what can be shown at all times. So I can do my reps, my repetitions, and everything stays at the same place. Shown, that's a window. For instance, for me that's a dialog, because I can only confirm, cancel, or copy, that's it, right? And if I don't do anything, I cannot keep going. I cannot do my repetitions. For me that's a dialog. And for instance, this one, again, the same. Yeah, you have buttons, you have more stuff, but I cannot proceed. So for me, that's a dialog. Therefore, if I open this in the browser, this is the browser window, not a dialog. But what makes it a window is not because you have a toolbar here or you have menus and so on. It's because if I want to proceed learning, I can do it. I can leave this open the entire session if I want to. That's why it's a window, not a dialog. So keep that in mind. Nothing more to add now today. That's a lot of information already, and later on I will cover more jargon about the elements and so on. So one step at a time and get there incrementally. See you next time.